Well, the situation in Fasher has had UN officials here concerned for weeks, and now their worst fears seem to be being realized. There are credible reports that since Friday, the Rapid Support Forces have advanced into Fasher, which is the capital of North Darfur, and they are fighting with the Sudanese armed forces that are inside the city. And Fasher is the last city in the Darfurs that RSF hasn't captured yet. So they're probably there for a big battle. And the UN says that there are more than 800,000 people sheltering in Fasher. Many of them are displaced from other parts of Sudan and Darfur. They've gone there because it's been relatively quiet until now. But many of them have moved towards the south of Fasher, we've heard. But the UN says really nowhere is safe there. And yes, there is a huge hunger crisis in Sudan and all of Sudan and in Darfur. And in Fasher, the UN says about 330,000 people there are really at emergency levels of food insecurity. Humanitarians cannot reach them because of the fighting. Today in Bahrain, the UN Secretary General is at the Arab League Summit, and he made another call on the SAF and the RSF to immediately stop fighting and to resume negotiations, which have been stalled for months. So a lot of calls on them to stop.
Margaret, you mentioned humanitarian aid, and I see that WFP is also warning the window is also closing for aid to get to millions of people in Sudan to avert a possible famine. The Deputy Director just returned from a mission to Sudan this week. What are the updates? What did he say?
Yes, Karl Skau was in Sudan earlier this week. He said that the situation is desperate and it is deteriorating quickly. He warns that the threat of famine is growing for 5 million Sudanese in parts of the country affected by war. This is complicated by the approaching rainy season. It's about to start in June and it will run through July. So this means that roads will become impassable, which means humanitarians will have yet another obstacle to getting aid to people. It also means farmers need to hurry up and plant their seeds or they will miss the next harvest, which will just continue this cycle of hunger and extreme hunger in Sudan if they can't plant the next crops. The humanitarians are having trouble because of the fighting, of course, but also because there are so many checkpoints on the roads. There are road closures, border closures into Darfur and such, and a very real lack of funding. We heard from Clementine Nkweta Salami, the UN resident and humanitarian coordinator for Sudan on Wednesday. She was telling us that an aid convoy left Port Sudan on April 3rd, and it has yet to reach Fasher. It's been about 6 weeks, and they can't do it because of delays in getting clearances and all of these checkpoints along the roads. And medical charity Doctors Without Borders is saying that their hospital in Fasher is they have a partner hospital there. They say it's overwhelmed, undersupplied. Medical supplies aren't reaching the few hospitals that are left. So the situation is really just cycling downwards.